Hmm. Trying to think of how this should work. Wait a second. I just remembered something. This it erases in a discrete vertical line, whereas the writing happens diagonally, and these are not patterns that are compatible with each other. Hmm. I do have another idea though. Constructing the information before it reaches its destination in memory. So that this way, eh, so here, instead of wiping and then writing, it produces the information here, and then it pushes it into where it's supposed to be by pushing the ones out of the ways with the zeros, which I would actually prefer to have the other way around. There. It shouldn't be too difficult to fix. And so that way, for instance, if this is the least significant bit and this is the most significant bit, we could write 7, and then these can have collectors of their own, or even 9. Yeah, this is 9. Or is it? I'm pretty sure. Hold on a second. I remember this is 5, which means that this must be 10, which means 9 would be this, not that. There. And this would be 8. Oh yes, because I'm just now remembering this is the 1s, 2s, 4s, and 8s place. So this is actually 10. And then these would be refilled. You know, what I really like about Minecraft's terminal in-game is that it has the tab autocomplete feature. So, for instance, if you have time selected here, you can just press tab and it immediately fills in what it already knows you're going to have. And having smart features like that helps a lot. And so, what would normally take maybe 10 or 20 keystrokes would take down to 5 or 7. And anything you can do to reduce keystrokes is fantastic. But as I was saying before, we need collectors here now, which in this configuration I feel like it would be necessary to use these to pull them away from the diagonal strip. Like that. And then they would need to be funneled. I'm not sure if I like this system anymore. There's just too much funneling happening. There's too many moving parts. I want this to be as simple as possible. And as optimized as possible also. So I think instead of having this be like this, I'm going to just, I'm going to completely remove all of this. It was almost a good idea, but it wasn't. This is all going to come out now. We need a complete redesign. And the first order of business is to move the right head from over here, where it's conflicting with everything else nearby, over to here, where it's in the middle of a really clean spot. And I'm going to have what design type should I have this time? I really like the simplicity of the vertical strips. But if you really wanted to, you could encode the information in any pattern you wanted. For instance, if you wanted this bit, this bit, this bit, and this bit to all be in the same half byte of information, then that's possible. And then one over from that would be this one, this one, this one, and this one. And that would just continue like normal. Which also means we need to remove this because it's wrong again. So now we're back down to the base design, knowing that there are some things that don't work, or partially work but not entirely. Also, I think it's really dumb to have such a big input band, now that I think about it. We only need something like this, where the information gets pushed in like that, and then from that point forward it's not a problem to push it the rest of the way through. Although, now we need to deal with this again. Which means... oh yeah, which means that this pushes out. Hypothetically, if they all push out, try to have the reload mechanism be this pillar only. These ones don't get reloaded, so that would mean that this design is flawed quite critically. However, there's another design that is not flawed that I know of. Well, not this one. Needs to be back one. Staggering. There. And all of these should be pushing the same pillar. And so this is where the feed mechanism can now go. And so feeding becomes simplified again. As I can actually demonstrate now. There. And so that's repeatable pretty easily. And of course we also have this wiper down here that should also work fine now. But now we need the collector. And we already had a lot of designs for how collectors could work, hypothetically. Now we just need to find one that to implement here that works better than all of those ones. One idea I had, perhaps we could use the same staggering in a reverse order to do something like this. And then do something. Although I'm not entirely sure what exactly we would do after that point. We could use these motive machines in order to move things up and down like a carriage. Now that hold on. Yeah, like this. You crush the redstone line. Now I'm frustrated. I want to remember how this works. I already made a working design before, now I just need to remember how I did that. I'm pretty sure it's like this. No. Perhaps trying it like this. Yeah, but those machines are both frustrating and hard to get working, and also very delicate, so they're unreliable. However, they do things that nothing else can do, and so they are sometimes a necessary sacrifice. I think this should be fine for right now. The mechanism that we planned earlier. Trying to think of any way that we could do this better than this, because this is still not great. Especially the control mechanism for this. I'm not even sure how that would work right now. Add another idea, actually. Ah, yes. And then, after we do that, we can do this. Split it into 4 separate streams. This looks like the best way to do it so far. And then these can be alternating just like before. And actually, I think I can get it to work like this. To simplify it even further. So now, we can test writing again. And then, oh, that doesn't work. Hold on. Oh, and I know why. It just needs correct timing. Actually, no, it needs to go the other way. Like this. Yeah. And then this would be its default state. Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly the type of motion we're looking for. And then we can have this be here, so that it's a default on in the system. And we can actually continue testing this to see if there are any problems. Which there shouldn't be. Yeah, so that should have an on pulse for some time, and then an off pulse. Actually. Oh yeah. This delay is too much. It should be like this. In fact, in this configuration... What about this? Yeah, that's actually the best. Didn't even need that delay, actually. I'm going to need to fill this in again as well. I have to continue the experimentation. In fact, at this point, I think this could all be done with a single button. It's really hard to see. It's a gray button on a gray background. Although that is too long of a pulse, really. It should be doable with just that. Yes, if only the redstone torches could handle small redstone pulses, because if that was the case, I could just do this. But unfortunately, as you can see, it doesn't even recognize that. And in order to get that working, I would need to do something overly complicated, like like this. There, that works. Good enough. So, as you can see, the first thing that happens is that these retract. The very next thing that happens is these extend, and then retract immediately, and then these extend again, pushing up the material. And that continues until it has a new strip that's pointed vertical that we can actually push back out of the way with a very simple mechanism right here. Wait, I think then we run into the same problem again, actually. But we can continue doing this reliably. I pulsed them too fast. I could make a weather joke, but there's only so many times you can do that until it gets old. Yeah, you can see. So this could actually be used as a mechanism for turning corners with these strips. The real problem is that we need... So what we really need most of all is this mechanism here that pushes one strip by 4 blocks in one direction, forming a pillar, which is what we eventually need. It's unavoidable that we need to convert this into a pillar at some point, so it would look like this coming in. and then we would need to do this. But then we would need to retract these in order, in very careful order, like this. And that takes a lot of control, which is what we don't want. It would be big and slow and difficult. Hmm. Hmm. But how else? I think we might as well just use the mechanism we had before. It's the best one we have so far, and it does what we need it to do. And I suppose we could just improve that as time goes on anyway. So instead of trying to find a new design, we're just going to use this one that we already know works. Hmm. Now we also need to plan out how this is going to need to be controlled, and what order these are going to need to be pulsed in. Oh yeah, and this one here. So first this needs to happen, then this, then this, then this. So I know of one thing that easily does that actually. Watch this. Get rid of that because it's no longer necessary. That's not nearly as hard as I thought it would be. We can even replace that with one of these here. So let's actually have another one of those. I'm just going to make something better for this right now, because I'm really tired of how I made this work. Wow. This wiring. There. That's better. And now, watch this. Oh, that's wrong because signal is too short. So hold on a second. I know how to fix this. This will make a signal that's 2 ticks long instead of only 1, which should be perfect. Yes, now it works fine. I still don't entirely like how slow it is though. Although, at this point the only way to avoid that is to keep it in the form of a strip the entire time. Because otherwise, we're going to run into bandwidth problems anyway. So conceivably, I think that takes, the whole process of this takes about between 8 to probably 12 or 14 ticks. And the write process takes, I think, only 1 or 2, or this part of the write process, and they need to happen in order, so I'm considering it's probably between 10 and 16 ticks long, the whole write process, which is still under a second, which is good. unfortunately, as you can see, that's how long it takes for the tape reel to get all the way to the other side, and then twice as long to return. And actually, one more and it'll be on the other side, and then it will finally come back into phase. So actually, I know how to make a sequencer for doing this pretty simply and easily. And I feel like I should do it under this right here to make it easy. So I need 4 discrete pulses, each with an off pulse in between. I'm just going to quickly see how this works. Oh wait, that needs to be a shorter signal. So, going back to using this design here. Now that just holds a signal, as I was concerned might happen. So each one of these is going to need one more delay than the last one, at least. But not in this configuration, actually. So instead, first, needs a pass-through, then that delay there. So seeing how that works alone first. Oh, that's not what we want. No, that's too fast. That's also much too fast. This is the hard way, I'm beginning to realize. Instead of that, what about... This is going to take most of the room if I do it that way. that actually works, but we need 2 more, each one with that much more on it. And so it would look like that. And I don't think it's an option to have it be like this either. Yeah, because see, it holds the off pulse longer, and also the on pulse, which would interfere with the next one in line. There. So that's... wait, no. There, and so it's interfering. What else do we have that can actually do this? We need 4 pulses, each 2 ticks long, both on and off. And the only immediately obvious way I know how to do that is with a giant array of repeaters that looks like this, with 2 more each time. And so it would look like that, which is, as I'm sure you're already aware, completely unacceptable. That's too much size. That sequencer would be too huge. Had an idea. I see that. Huh. Interesting. Actually, no. There. Oh yeah. The pulse is too short for that to even care. Another idea is to use an array of observers, which would act more like this. That might actually be the answer. Then it would be as simple as this. Yeah, look at that. Because these have built-in propagation delay and are very compact and modular. But I don't think that pulse is long enough, so we would need something more like this. However, this could also be compacted by doing this. Or wait, that. So this should work now. Look at that. Exactly the signal we're looking for. So watch this. Yes. Yeah, we just need to repeat this structure down here. And that should be simple enough. I'm going to run into a height problem there, which we can fix by going down. And then these will act appropriately, because they're pushing redstone signal into these blocks, which can be picked up by these lines here, which is also perfectly in line with this here, and also these here, which can just do that, and then this. And now the signal can come in through here. And so now we can test after we reload. Now it should work fine. Yeah, watch this. Too fast, actually. Very slightly too fast. Now that's a flaw. I have a feeling we may need a slightly longer delay to make this work correctly, which would require an even bigger system if we were to do it that brute force way. One way I know of making an appropriately long signal and repeating it pretty simply and easily is with a slow clock like this. But of course then you would need to either record how many times you've pulsed since you've begun, which would require a complicated mechanism again, or you would need to have it so that it only activates if there's still a block right here, and detecting that would be very difficult. Actually, I had another idea. First, we need to move all of this up. The logic for this should be just checking if this works first. Yes. Actually, no, because the bottom one needs to activate first. Or does it, actually? Oh no, that's pushing down. So reversing the order pushes in the opposite direction. Do you know what that means? That means we can have this be up here and have it be pulsing in the other direction. Yes. And so, actually, yes, this is probably correct. It should be correct. No, it needs to go the other way. There. And now, if we have it do like this, and put these back in there to simulate a right. So, so now we're doing it backwards, but also reversing the other And not only did we reverse the order of how they fire, we also reversed where this is on the pillar, and so the end result is you multiply a negative by a negative, so now you have a positive, only now this mechanism is up here where it's easier to get to, which is, I think, objectively a total improvement in this case. Nothing was sacrificed, which is pretty good. And so I'm thinking, having the logic be every time this fires, this should fire 4 times in a controlled way as to make sure that everything happens correctly. And I'm also thinking, yeah, this should be like this instead, first of all. Or should it, actually? I'm not sure how that would work. There, it requires to be like that in order to work correctly. And actually, another thing, it'd be more efficient if this was down here, first of all. Like this. I think, actually. Hmm. Wait, why would that be like that? Again, I thought I had an idea. Hmm. Oh, I think I know what I meant now. This here fires first in all cases, which also means we don't need that to be so high up. Actually, we do in order to get over this strip here, so I was right the first time, but also the second time. So in reality, the idea would have worked if that wasn't in the way. Hmm. This is starting to look pretty good now. Hmm. Oh, and another thing we need, this here to capture what this replaces down here. Also, since it's working like this will be the mixed stream, and this will be a stream purely of glass, because it only writes 1 bit in on a blank strip right here, which means it will only ever push glass out of the way, which means we know that this stream will only ever be glass, because it wipes first. And then this is the only one we need to sort. Which we might actually want to push the other way in order to keep things orderly, or perhaps not. I don't actually know yet. In fact, it would be easier for coordination and less cramped if I had that be up there, so that the pillar goes all the way up to here and then gets pushed out like that. Oh, look who it is. Hold on a second. I'm just going to fix this really quickly so it doesn't interfere. Can't have any rogue variables here. So, I'm going to delete you now. There. The system has been purged of all imperfection. This has become like Tron. I'm just now noticing. So now... Uh, Another thing that would make this easier is if I actually made this barrel wider in diameter, like I was saying. Although that's just reiterating things that I've already said before, which I shouldn't really do. Over here, there should be the next one. There. So once it gets out to here, it'll be pushed that way, which I hope it would be where I put the stone storage at. Or should it be pushed down? And in the middle of the line there should be the sorter that pushes the glass over this way down to this glass only stream. And of course, we already know of a way of detecting glass, which is trying to put a redstone signal through it. Hold on, I'm almost there. So, yes, I see a way of doing this well. That's too far. No. So the plan is this will only retract if there's glass in front of it. So simulating that now. Putting a debug lever. Yes. The timing. Hold on. I always need to consider the timing. So first, I'm going to reset the experiment. Yes, just like that. And so it pulls out the glass. And as soon as that happens, I also want it to push it down. But the problem is if there's multiple glass in a row, then how would it know to pull out all of it? This is a flawed design. This part is the part that works. In order to push the glass out that way, we need piston here, facing that way, and we also need it right here where the glass would be, which is a problem. And this is the problem right now, sensing as well as interacting. Yes. I feel like this design I'm making right now should be the solution finally. And perhaps have that be like that as well. What's keeping you? Oh yes. Correct. So instead... There. Now. Resume. Oh. Hmm. Oh, that's why. Yes, this needs to be over here instead. But that blocks the path of anything new coming in. That's a problem. So close to having this drive working finally. And stupid things like this standing in the way. I can't believe it. This sorter should be simple, but it's not. I know. What if instead I did something simple and stupid like this? No. Oh, of course that wouldn't work because, hold on. There. And then there. Or no, actually. There. And there. And there. So that pushes only stone out of the way. But we want the opposite. So how do we detect the opposite? Uh, hmm. No, because that would block the flow also. So, the only way I see to do it is to push only stone out of the way instead of only glass. Now that's going to be less perfect. But it's a compromise. So, the way the system would look is like this. First there will be this stream coming out like this, and then after the stone gets pushed out of the way, which I would like to be pushed in this direction, and the glass itself is pushed down to where its stream is supposed to be. Yeah. Another problem is going to be sensing the glass, which I think is only going to be practical with these observers here. Sensing changes in the stream instead of sensing only if there's something there. Actually, redstone signals go through glass. Yes. So that's not a way to sense them either. Redstone literally has a hard time seeing glass because it's so translucent. Also, that doesn't belong there anymore either. Technically, neither does that. Now, there should still be one of these here. Although, now how am I going to sense that? The only two other blocks that can have access to reading that is the top one and the one in the line of fire. And the top one, yeah, here's the problem. Yeah. So no, that's not possible. We already know we can sense it horizontally, though. So it would need to look more like this. And so both of these would look like that. And also the signal would need to come in through here and be detected on this side and be piped up here. There. And so now that works. And this over here. Hmm. The way I'm going to have this one be is every time it senses a change, it's going to fire any change up in the stream further. Yeah, like that. And so now, as a sort of a test, going to, yeah, like this, and see if it sorts correctly, which it should. Yeah, so look at that. It has split the stream into the two types perfectly. In fact, it's done it so well that it's destroyed this in the process. And what is that? What is that? I've never seen that there before. I've never seen anything like that before. So now we need to be careful because this could actually jam if we're not careful and destroy the whole tape drive. So we just need to be careful of that. Should be fine. Then we need to detect change in that line here. Actually like this. And then that goes around like this. Yeah, so anytime that receives something new, it knows to push it out of the way. There should also be one of these here. Yeah, that also detects that and sends that over to here. Yes. And this should also have something right here. Hmm. There. And so now there's going to be two glass streams, one just on top of the other, which should be not too difficult to handle. But now let's test if this extended mechanism works. That doesn't look right at all. Hold on. So what exactly is happening here? Why is this stone making it through now when it... Oh, that's why. Look at where this piston is. Hmm. So what this means is... going to need to do this differently now. Of course, there would be complications. There never isn't. Need to somehow find a way to... Oh, I know. Hold on. There. Being in the business for so long, you get to know tricks like this. Apparently it can still push through glass for no foreseeable reason. Hmm. How am I... Oh. I realized just now that I'm really stupid and don't know how redstone works. So hold on, it should work perfectly now. There. And now it's sorting it into its two discrete streams and pushing them out as it should. Over here will be the storage barrels for storing all of this mass that will be pushed back in as rote information. Still need to see what how am I going to need to deal with this here, because that's going to be very very strange. Mm. Mm. Potentially a problem even. Uh, mm. If only that was back one by only one, it wouldn't make a difference. Now I'm going to need to make the storage barrels and the process for uh, both storing the mass and pulling it out when we need to write, feeding it back into these mechanisms over here. And of course, because we have the problem of a the problem of what am I trying to say? Oh yes, the mass isn't usually all, or trying to say the storage drums aren't always going to be entirely full or empty, so we don't actually know exactly how full they're going to be at any one time, and we need a mechanism for handling that because, as I'm sure you're already aware, a partially filled storage drum, it does not always function correctly and cannot always move. So look at this configuration, it can't move anymore. So we can't pull anything out of this, even though there's so much mass there. That's the problem. We need a mechanism for being able to pull out all of the mass or put it all back in. And I'm sure you're already aware of the mechanism we designed earlier, which, even though it's very complicated, very overcomplicated, it still works. And it's still the only thing we know works. And so we need one of these for each one of these straights here. One on top here, and then another one on bottom here, because that's you need to alternate it like that, I think. I'm pretty sure. I might not actually need to alternate it. Uh, oh yeah, and this will interfere with that, so we need to have that be on this side again, because we know that also works. Actually, that's in the way. These are actually supposed to be down here. Not that there. Actually, they don't need to be down there. They could just be up at the top like normal. And so we'll have a system like this again. Uh, but I really don't like that design. I want it to be different. You know, it would actually be nice. Just now, thinking about it. Using sand is a lot easier than trying to work with any other material because it naturally falls. And so you can use that one mechanic to do a lot of things with it. For instance, my favorite thing you can do with sand is this. see how that eliminates so much needless complication? If sand was the material we were writing, then we could have the storage drum just be one stack of sand vertical. No problem. Completely dispensable. Now, that's one of the reasons why sand is one of my favorite materials, because it has physics. But instead, we don't have sand, we have stone and glass, which we need to figure out a mechanism for storing. You already saw earlier, actually, way over here, there's a mechanism I already built for storing huge blocks of material at a time. I built it right here. And I can turn it on right now. We could have one of these, but then how do we dispense from it? That's the problem. You can't really. Not very well, at least. You would need a reverse mechanism that does this in reverse, and I'm not even sure how you would do such a thing. So this is not what we're going to be doing. We know that already. Instead, you see, the problem with this is the hybrid between computing and machinery, and so it has the complications of both, and also the features of both. You have the mechanical nature of the pistons and all these moving blocks and components, and the computational nature of what it's trying to do and accomplish, and how it fundamentally works as well. So this is probably actually the most complicated part of the whole computer. As stupid as that sounds. And it's going to probably take the most ingenuity to get working. Probably not counting the ALU wiring, trying to get the arithmetic unit working. That's going to be a nightmare. But it's also going to be a nightmare in the far future, because now the episode is over, because it's been an hour now. Actually longer than an hour. I'll finish this later then.